Now, Dipti, you were working and you were a mom when you were advancing in your career. You have two boys and they're grown, they're adults. But I'm wondering how that journey was for you when, you were trying to support your family and growing in your career. You were trying to climb up. How did you integrate the two?
I think it's about, having a really good support system. I have a really supportive partner who was a primary caregiver for the children for a while. And I had, support from our in-laws and who would, help pick up the children, take care of the children. So I don't think you can do it alone. I think you need to have a good support system. And then I think you find a way. I remember doing my master's of health admin when my son was 1 year old, and also having a job. And I liken that to just being in jail for 2 years, and you just do it. And it's funny how you find the time, you find the energy, and you just get it done. So I think, believing that you can do it, being really organized and having support, I think is what helped me. During when my children were young in particular.
Yeah, I like to say being a parent or being a mother, you almost become more productive.
Absolutely. It's funny how much you can accomplish when you have a lot on your plate.
Right, and then you wonder what you were doing when you didn't have any kids.
Agreed. Or when you weren't going to school and having kids at the same time. So,
right.
Yeah.
Dipti, what's one of the greatest lessons you've learned throughout your life and your leadership journey?
I think it's just having a deep passion, believing in something deeply. Really, I think that's what I've learned, that you have to have a purpose. You have to believe in something, and finding that purpose and that passion is so important, because once you do, then you're able to truly love what you do every day, be able to wake up every day and want to go to work and enjoy what you do. And I think that's one thing I learned in terms of throughout my career, and in terms of leadership. As I said earlier, I think you have to find that deep belief to be the guiding light for you in your leadership journey. And once you find that light, then everything is possible. And the other leadership lesson I've learned is that it's really not about you as a leader. Your job as a leader is very much to support, enable others to lead, to find their potential, to live their potential. Because you're going to have a bigger impact, not just by yourself, by enabling and supporting your team, your community, your organization to live their potential and lead. So that's the other big thing that I've learned in my career.
And when you look back at your journey, is there anything you would have done differently if you had another chance?
I don't think so. I think I don't really have very many regrets in terms of what I would have done differently. For me, it's all a life journey. It's all an experience. And you need to learn as you go. One of the other things I always tell young people and students is always take the time to self-reflect. Reflect on what you're going through. Reflect on your experience. Reflect on what you're learning about yourself, about the work you're doing. And that will guide you to continue to grow and develop as a person, as a leader. So for me, my experiences thus far have been the journey, and it's the journey, it's the learning along those experiences that have helped me, do all of the things that I've done and get to where I am. And I know that there's a continued journey ahead, and I'm excited about what that will bring for the future. But
what is your vision for the future?
That I'm still passionate and love what I do and whatever I do, and that I'm still able to make a difference and meaningful impact to individuals and their family and to their health system. I'm deeply passionate about home and community care. When I was a care coordinator for home care in Toronto, the things that my older clients used to tell me was, Dipti, I want to stay at home as long as possible. And that's always guided me as well, that deep desire to help people be independent and live at home as long as they can and with as much quality of life. So I'm really interested in the Ontario health teams and this health system transformation that's happening with home care and community care being at the center of that, and really being able to contribute to helping to design a future home and community care system that truly puts clients, patients, families at the center, what's important to them at the center, and designing programs and systems around that. And frankly, I believe we should be designing our future home care, our long-term care system around the ultimate outcome of quality of life. Mm-hmm. Every other outcome in terms of clinical outcomes, physical outcomes, medical outcomes, all should be geared at achieving quality of life as that person defines it. Right. And I think if we fundamentally think about that as the goal, the ultimate goal, then you could see that we would have very, very different services, supports, and systems of care that focus not only on the physical needs of the individual, but on the psychosocial, the emotional, the support, social needs of the individual as well. You know, being in the community care sector and home care sector for so long, and now particularly here at the hospice, I've truly learned that health, and I know this because I'm a nurse, and as nurses, we learn holistic care is really important, and that's what we practice. It's about the medical, the physical, the psychosocial. I don't think that's how our health system works right now. The health system is quite independent of the social system. It's about integrating the two together. And I think here in hospice and palliative care, we do that. We do that really well. We integrate the physical care, the psychosocial, spiritual care of the individual and their family along their entire journey. And that philosophy and approach, I believe, is what's necessary for older adults with complex needs, adults with complex conditions, individuals. These are the individuals in home care and long-term care. So we need to have that philosophy and approach, which would mean different services like volunteers providing recreation and socialization, other supports that we don't often value as much. So that excites me, and I'm building that here at our hospice, really fundamentally thinking about the hospice palliative approach, how we can take that focus on the physical, psychosocial, emotional, spiritual upstream to older adults with complex care needs who are truly palliative. We don't have to call them palliative, they want to be called palliative, but they are in their last few years of life, and they could certainly benefit from a holistic approach to care that focuses not just on caring for their physical needs, but their psychosocial, their emotional and spiritual needs, and guiding them through that journey and taking care of their families. So we're looking at creating a whole new model called compassionate care and taking that hospice approach upstream. And so we're doing some test of change, and you know, I get super excited about that, and that drives me to really continue what I'm doing, because I know that there's a better way, and I know that we can make a bigger difference to people's quality of life and health.
Yeah, that is amazing. If we can just spread this approach that's working, it's going to create such a huge difference for our community on the whole.
But it takes a fundamental shift in thinking, to think completely different. And it's happening. I see it with the Ontario health teams. There's a real starting to be a recognition of the importance of the social side of healthcare, and social determinants of health, and how we need to integrate those. And now it's about figuring out how to do that. And you know, one of the things I'm doing is, it's not just about me, our organization, and us working in isolation. We're partnering with seniors organizations, community agencies that serve seniors, to say, how do we marry your expertise with our expertise, and how do we care for older adults very, very differently? And that's what excites me about the Ontario health teams, is the opportunity to bring expertise and knowledge and resources of health and social partners together to create new ways of caring for our community that really focuses on what's important to them, which is really having the best quality of life possible despite their health condition.